Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Rangers Radio. Tell myself Oxshare on the show this evening. Is the one and only AK and the up and coming star of Rangers Radio, Robert. Evening, gents.
Good evening, Oxshare. Good evening, Rob, the Takey team, and everybody that's listening.
Evening, gentlemen. How are we? Good to be on with yourselves.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed in the transfer window, mate. Couldn't get rid of AK. I tried everything I knew, but didn't pass.
No,
I heard there's some clubs still looking for people, mate.
Oh, aye. Long discussions with TalkSport. Long discussions with TalkSport, but never came to anything.
Well, that's nice.
As a bowling correspondent, I thought that'd be an ideal job for you, mate, yeah?
Aye, I know. It would have been, but I'll just need to work with the council for another year.
You could have done the Australia and New Zealand in the winter, then come back for the summer, mate. What a job, mate. What a job.
Oh, I know. Aye, you're talking dream job now, Ox.
Just right. Every report, more grass, more grass.
A wee bit of Bob Marley.
Right, okay. Right. How are we both? How are we doing, AK?
Aye, bang on, pal, bang on. Good to be on with Rob and yourself.
All right. How's Robert?
I'm alright, mate. I'm alright. Glad
Look,
the couple of days are over.
We'll get your thoughts quickly on Sunday because it was different. Robert?
Aye, mate. I'll use the word content with the performance that we put on based on what we had seen during the week. Obviously, a clean sheet was a positive, but the disappointing fact, Ox, was, in my opinion, they were there for the taking. The 3 points should and could have been ours, but we didn't, again, create enough to obviously get a shot on target to force any questions of their defence and their goalkeeper. So, an opportunity lost, but as I said, content with the level of performance that they put into it, and that's kind of the benchmark of how we want to going forward, the intensity, the pressure, again, just that final third, but obviously added a few players into that position, and over time, hopefully that will click with the new guys coming in, but ultimately, mate, I think it was an opportunity lost to make up some ground overall.
I don't disagree, mate. I thought they were. It's hard to say they're nothing against the draw, but I thought they were worse than us, and we're frustrated. Yeah, now you've been time to reflect.
Oh, I mean, even on the day of the game, Ox, on reflection, I think we basically covered it. Rob's right. The 2 words for me: missed opportunity. 2 poor teams. The quality wasn't there in either team. And that's hopefully what the transfer window was last night, that we've got that quality up front now, but we need to get the service up to these guys to score goals. Score goals wins you games, and that's what it's about.
Yeah. I've got to be honest with you, if I was a betting man and somebody gave me a free bet to pick a correct score, that wouldn't have been my pick in that game on Sunday. Just shows you what I know, Robert.
No, you're probably not alone, mate. If it would have been me, if you were going to draw, you'd have put on a score draw, given the fact that the amount of shots we've gave up and goals we've conceded and mistakes we've made, but also we can get a goal in games as well. So I don't think a 0-0 would have been many people's tips at all.
Positives for you, Rob, was the clean sheet. Negatives, the lack of creativity. Is that the point you're making?
Aye, pretty much, mate. Aye. Just that, obviously, coming off the back of midweek, the performance, the scoreline, I know they didn't threaten too much, but I think the fact that we did keep a clean sheet, we didn't make many mistakes at the back, and when we did, it was nothing that was capitalised on. It was quite minimal. So I thought we looked more structured defensively. Obviously, the shape had changed, which maybe helped it as well. But again, it was that final third, mate, that just lacked that quality, as AK said.
Aye. Right, we'll move on for that, yeah, because we're dragging it out. And if we'd have got one goal, we'd have been dragging it out for maybe another couple of days, if we're honest. And we'd still been doing the lap of honour, wouldn't we?
But for big suitors, shoulda, we could have the 1-0 victory.
Aye. There's a learning curve for me, that, mate, and I think we touched on it on Sunday. It is a frustration. I mean, I get the game's changed. VAR's changed the game. I think when you're in a forward position, you've got to try and make sure you're offside so you don't lose a good goal with being stoning offside. I think the game's changed. The same way you're defending, you just can't do the things you used to be able to do, blocks or pulls or whatever. You'll get pulled up and you'll concede a penalty. So if you're offside, you score a good goal and you're being stoning offside, you know, I go back to the ones that, if I take Vessels who left us there, I'll come to that in a minute for you two gentlemen, but when he get the goal chopped off in Fenerbahce, you remember the goals he get chopped off that night? Well, I thought he was unlucky that night, but most of his other career he was stoning offside, and you're never going to get the goal when it goes to VAR, and that's a frustration. And that was one of my frustrations with John, because if he's that half a yard back, I still think he's going to get it, and he got the goal, and he's never going to be offside. Robert?
I totally agree, mate. As you say, in this day and age, you're not going to get away with it. It's fine margins. And I kind of find it a bit, I don't know if naive's the word, Ox. When you're in that position, you should be looking along the line and making sure that you are in line with the last defender. Have the belief you're going to challenge for the ball initially, but make sure you're going to win it and force something, whether it's an attempt on goal or a knockdown for a second ball. He's probably, as you said, he's probably still going to win it if he is onside. But I just feel a bit careless not to be kind of chipping on the line. And I know it's a thin margin, but as you said, you don't get away with it, because if it was a couple of seasons, it's fine, it's 1-0, we celebrate and we move on. But in this day and age, I think the players need to be more aware of their lines and their positions.
Go having a go again at split second and all that. I just think you're going to be a wee bit cuter, AK, yeah?
No, I totally agree. I'm on the same page as the two of yous. Days going by, it used to be just the two eyes, maybe the linesman, possibly the referee. If none of them can spot the, you know, suitors just made that wee movement there earlier, then you're getting away with that goal, and it is a goal, you know. But now you've got so many cameras in the stadium, plus you've got the referee and the linesman who's always going to go to VAR right away. Is that a kind of safety net that the officials have got now? So they're going to pick up on it. I've not got a problem with it. It was offside. The lines proved that. But you're right in what Rob's saying there. Suitors looking across the line there, you can see he's just ahead of him. Step back a wee half yard, pal, and then you've got that header to possibly win the game. So I'm in agreement with two of you.
Aye. Just something I think you would have to constantly talk about. You'd have to talk about it with people coming through your development team, whatever that is, your B team, your under 23s, your the guys you're trying to get in the team, because it has changed again. Yeah. All right. Look, I'm going to sort of be guided with used to and pass used to over. User a great study of all things what's happening at the club. He's come up with some good stuff and some decent stories. But much sometimes for my liking. I know I like him on, AK, you know that. Right, but with a lot of change, especially when I'm in a bad mood, we have a lot of change at the club. It's been spectacular. Right. We use all Bears lists as a starter for 10. I think he's going to have to wrap that up. Right. We've had a lot of change at the club. Over to you, gentlemen, ins and outs, mate.
Carry on, Rob.
Well, as you're saying, Ox, it's been a a drastic turnaround yet again. Obviously with a big exile of departures last summer under Philip Clement, and then again this season. In total, we have had 16 players leave the club over the summer, 5 of which were at the end of their contract. The likes of Hadji, Lawrence, Cole McKinnon. Trying to get the other one now. Hold on, I got it here.
Come on, Rob. We're pumped up
Divine-
here. You're letting
Divine
yourself
Balogun.
yourself down.
That was
You're
at
letting
Balogun.
your family down. You're letting your school teachers, yeah, everybody, AK. Come on, Rob.
Sorry, mate.
I'm there to support you, Rob. I'm there to support you. Go to you.
Hadji, Devine, Lawrence, Balogun and McKinnon were the 5 players that were released at the end of their contract. But we've had 11 departures, Ox, whether it be on loan or for financial figure. To name the 11 that went out was Dessers, Igaman, Yefty, Redfan, Proper, Fraser, Cortez, McCausland, Cifuentes, Davies and Munn. In total, Ox, we brought in a total income of around about £23 million in transfer fees. And obviously there's a lot of wages saved up as well, with some earners on there that aren't being kept on this season. So a good bit of business in terms of the players out, and some good values as well there, Ox. And I'll let AK discuss the incomings.
Aye, no problem, pal. Listen, see, to just follow up with that, I mean, I don't, Cantwell, see if you remember the players that we lost last year, Cantwell, Ryan Jack, Kmart Roof, Connor Golson, I think they were totaling round about 800,000 or something like that for they sort of players. So they have an income of 23 million compared to last year's business is night and day. So kudos to the board and the people in charge of the recruitment for that.
Would it be fair? Would it be fair? And everybody, some people might have right Redvan, there might have been people like Proper. Maybe thought we could have done different there, and everybody's got an opinion. But would it be fair to think that the majority of people would look at that and maybe think that the two that have left the club for money, that Dessers and Igaman would be the headline makers, because the rest, when they're looking as if they were cutting for us. I championed Jeffy at the start. I think he's got potential. I still think he's got potential, but he wasn't getting it in our team, the defensive side of the game, and we couldn't see improvement, so he had to come out. You got a crazy offer, I think you've got to take it. But the two that would make the headlines for me, and your support, would be Dessers and Igaman, and Dessers will split the support. I think everybody liked Igaman, but I don't. If it is true that it was his clause was hit, there was no control on it for the club, and he wanted to go, so you move on. So I don't think there'll be any tears, AK.
Oh, there's certainly no any in my part, and all Bears list would confirm. I think he probably had most of the guys that's went out is gone out, and financially, we spoke about it briefly after the game on Sunday there, Ox. When you look at the age of Dessers, it was nothing to do with his goal contributions and what he's done for the club and his, what the assets that he brings to the team. It's just purely down to age. You're into the last 2 years of the contract. You're going to depreciate your value the longer you stay. So there's an opportunity there to cut ties with him. Basically regroup your money that you paid out for him for 2 years ago. You've had good usage of him because you've had over 50 goals, and then we recycle that money back into the team to get a kind of younger player and hopefully be able to match the sort of goals output. So it made financial sense, even though he was a fan's favourite. Igaman's a different end of the scale.
Or did he frustrate?
Oh, I think there was a bit of both. I think there was a bit of magic with certain goals and things that he contributed to the team, but he definitely frustrated. You're looking for a match winner there. Few times that he did pop up, but no often enough. And could you rely on him 100% if he's steaming in on goal? Very doubtful. So I thought it was a good move for him and the club, personally.
I don't have a problem with it. I think it made sense. The Egger man, somebody doesn't want to be with. That's always my position, Robert.
Aye, exactly, mate. No player is bigger than the club. And when you refuse to play for a manager, whether you like the manager, you don't like the system or setup, having that attitude is never going to work out well for you. And we've made a good bit of profit on the sale of Iggy. And as you said, if it is a contract release clause, we can't negotiate. There's no sell-on fee if it is met, if it's a release clause. But at the end of the day, we've got rid of a player that didn't want to be there. We've got a substantial transfer fee in, and we've went and recouped it straight away on the same position. And obviously time will tell how good that investment will be over the time. So again, no issues with the player sales or the player loans we've got out. I don't think there's any surprising names on it, Ox.
Well, there is one that went out for me that I didn't see coming so quickly. A question, why we done it, mate, is the Cortez one. Yeah. This whole thing just seems strange, AK.
You're right to pick up on that, pal, because Clement and Neil Scoppin brought in Cortez. Again, he'd good, he brought him in, I think, on the back of being the player of the tournament for Colombia. I think it was, so they obviously recognised that the boy had ability there, but it didn't, I think he had injuries and, it didn't suit and he kind of fell out, but unfortunately we tied into a legal obligation to buy with the club to get him back, and that's where you're beginning to question a bit, because it's a big outlay for our club. The 4.5, 4.3, run about that. And then obviously the new manager comes in, he doesn't fancy him, and this is the problems that we keep having with managers, no liking players, and then trying to get rid of them. But at least we've got him out the building. We've still got other players in the building for kind of Michael Beale's era, that we can't get rid of because no club will come in for them. So you can only get rid of a player if a club comes in for them. So hopefully we can regroup some of that outlay that we've put out in Cortez, because it is a drain on the finances we could have done without, that's for sure.
Aye, hopefully we're getting a good slice back. And by the way, actually, we want him to do well. So there's interest. So if it's not for us, you can move him on. Yeah, if that makes sense, Robert.
100%. I think that's why it doesn't come as a surprise to me, Ox, the loan move, because even when he's been fit and available on the bench, he's not been the guy that the managers have turned to, whether that be Russell Martin just now currently or the previous manager. He's not been that kind of go-to player that you would maybe look to change a game. And given the players we've got in the area that he plays, he's obviously down the pecking order. So the loan move, as AK says, it's probably a good move for him to go and get game time. And as you say, either impress to come back a better player and cover a position that we'll maybe need next season, or he attracts interest and we can recoup some of that money. And that's what these loan moves are about. But as long as he gets the game time, it'll benefit him and hopefully benefit the club, whether it's with us or financially.
Aye, I just found the whole thing strange. I get it. Maybe you take a punt, you sign a deal, and then it goes Pete Tong, injuries. Yeah, and you think, oh, we shouldn't sign him, but you've signed the paperwork and everything. You can't go to it. You understand that, yeah?
Oh, definitely, pal. And between Cortez and Danilo, I think we've been stung there, haven't we? But there's two guys that came with ability, came with a reputation there for their previous clubs. But for your side of things, you're talking 10, 11 million pound you could have done without, and it just looks like wasted transfer money from the supporters' point of view. So,
aye.
Yeah, aye.
Aye. I mean, if you're looking at Cortez and what's the other boy that went out and loaned there, Cervantes, yeah. You know, you've not only have you got to fit in, you've got a big cultural issue, isn't it? You know, it is a gamble, isn't it? They've got to settle, and everybody deals with it because that's the world football nowadays. But there's a lot of different aspects to a transfer, Robert.
Transfers aren't as simple. I don't think they've ever been simple, but they're not as simple as what they might have been a few years ago. The amount of wages and agent fees and all the logistics in between it's never easy. And as you say, when you make a deal to sign somebody as an obligation, you've got them on loan initially. You don't know how that's going to turn out. And obviously Cortez and even Danilo, to mention, they've both had their injury concerns, and maybe that's kind of stalled a bit of what they could show. But when we have seen them, we scratch our heads and think why we paid the money for them. But the Cortez one is, as you say, you've signed it, you're tied to it, you've got to do it. And obviously, if he's not going to be involved with us, we get the player out on loan and hopefully can recoup money. Cifuentes is the same. He came with a reputation, was going to take us to the next level. No idea what level we're going to, but he wasn't involved in it anyway, that's for sure. And
I remember watching him that game in Betis. I thought he was a great game. And I thought, we've got something here. He hardly played after that.
You're right. He fell away. And obviously he's been on loan. Obviously last season the team had an option to buy that he was at. They didn't take it up. And we've tried to get him out on a permanent again this summer. No interest, so we've gave him out on loan to Toronto FC. But I do think they've got an option as well, Ox. So again, another player, if he goes and shows what he can do over there, maybe they'll take the punt on him and give us some money back for him, and it's another player off the books. And I don't think his future's going to lie with us, unfortunately. But again, if you can recoup some of the money you paid, then it can only benefit the club.
Right. I've got a question for you two, yeah?
Yep.
Oh, when you go.
Right, and I'm looking for a straight answer, no waffle, straight answer. Yeah?
Okay.
Right, there's going to be two parts to this. I'm going to keep it simple with the outs, yeah? Are you happy with the outs? AK.
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Explain. AK.
Well, 16 players. For me, Ox, you could have had more if you were adding Matondo and Davies, and well, Davies is part of that, but Dow as well, another one that he could get rid of. For me, you could have ripped up that entire squad for last year. Squad that won nothing, and all of a sudden some of your support are wanting to hold on to him, and you can't play without Suter and Tavernier and Raskin and Butland in the team. Well, they were the same players that we were all slagging last year, Dessers included too. So for me, as many of the players out of that dressing room and start again, because what we've been going through the last 5 years is kind of like half a clear out and then half of bringing in like half a dozen players, 8, 9, 10 players, whatever. But you're still working with other managers' players, and it wasn't working. So as many of the players we could get rid of, and for that, the 23 million that we've recouped on that, reinvest that back into the squad. That's how a club should operate, and that's what we've got. So for me,
Robert?
yes, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Robert?
Just echo what AK says, mate. I think the amount of players we've managed to get off the books, sometimes you know how hard it is to get players out. You can only sell them if there's people interested, and we've got a good few players out there. Even if you exclude the 5 players released at the end of their contract, 11 players is quite a substantial dent in the team. You've managed to recoup some money, and you've made some profit on players as well. So financially, it's benefited the club. As you can say, 23 million income is remarkable considering maybe what we've had in the past. A few seasons ago, you would maybe not even think that you would be able to bring that amount of money in. So to do it in one window is a positive. and if you look at the players individually, Ox as well, there's reasons why they've left and why we've moved them on. Ridvan, example, it's injury prone, more time in the treatment table than the pitch, £2 million. It's a fair deal. Again, man, a player we brought in with potential, had an attitude problem near the end, and we've recouped and made a profit on him. So if you look at them all individually, they all make sense of why they've left the club and the time they've left. So I'm pleased with what we've done in the outgoings, Ox, overall.
Okay, before we open the lines, do you think you know what the next question's going to be, AK?
Well, I was wanting to back that back to you. Are you happy with the outgoings?
I'm delighted. The only one I'd like to see how it develops with Egerman. I think I agree with your point wholeheartedly about Dessers, mate. Perfect sense, age, money in. You're not paying somebody who might have the best of him. Yeah. He comes across as a likeable big fella, but he frustrated the life out of me. Yeah, frustrated the life out of me in some games, mate. When he was good, he could be magnificent, and then he would have 3 games you wouldn't even know he was on the pitch. Biggest enigma I've ever known. So I think it's shake on. You hope somebody else can come in and be more consistent. Obviously, you need chances as well, but the rest of them, mate, I think there's reasons, as Robert says, and you can make a case for every one of them moving on, a strong case for every one of them moving on, and as others, but they've certainly made a dent in the people who weren't getting value for buck for. Going forward, there might be new people replace them that were not getting value for buck for, but that's football. But I don't disagree with the 2 years. I don't disagree overall. What you have said there, I'm happy with it goes. I'm happy with. I'd like us to bring in double the transfer fees, but I'm happy. I think they've been realistic, and whoever who's doing that side of it, we've upped our game a bit. But you know what the next question is going to be, AK?
Are you happy with the incomings?
Well said, mate. Robert?
Is that the question just now, or are you going to get the callers in first?
Oh, that's a question for you, mate.
Well, it's hard to say because I've not seen all of them, and the performances haven't been able to get a good look at them. But in terms of the amount of players in, I think we've covered a good bit of the squad. Obviously, we'll come on to that later on about the positions itself, but I like the way how quickly we done it, Ox, right at the start. I know some transfers took a while, but I like how we've done some early business and got some players in. You can make an argument that there's players there with a lot of potential, and there's a lot of players that you're still scratching your head with, and you're wondering where it's going to go and how it's going to end up. But I think there's a younger side of the squad, there's a freshness, and there's potential in there. So I'll say yes. What about you, AK?
AK. It's a tricky one.
Aye. I think there's a lot of question marks over a lot of the players for what we've seen so far. As you say, 11 games.
I'll give you a help, right? Hit so far, hit, miss, or jury's out, yeah?
Right.
All right? Yeah, is that fair? Yeah?
Yep.
Right, so we'll start for the players we've brought in, and we'll go through right back, through the centre-backs, midfield, right? So, Aaron's hit, miss, or jury's out. AK.
Miss just now, based on his performances so far. Miss.
Robert?
Miss.
All day long. De Giga. Robert?
Jury's out.
AK?
I'll say miss the new because he's no an upgrade on Suter or Golson.
Right, I'll go in Rob's camp here, jury's out. I thought he started okay and he's no recovered. I thought he done okay on Sunday, apart from one pass with him and Butland. We'll see if he settles in. Fernandes, Rob?
Jury's out. Not seen enough of him.
That's fair.
Aye, agree.
Okay. Aye,
Agree.
right, okay.
Same reason.
Obviously, Mike Homer. Yeah. AK.
For what we've seen him just now, I think the boy's got a lot of potential. So hit for me, and he's put it this way: he's available to play Ridvan, Wisney, and you have to about get 6.5 million for. So I'm happy with that deal.
Rob?
Same as AK, mate. I'll say hit based on what we've seen. Those are two big pressure games he's had to come into, and he's played in them. So
I
I'd
think
say
it's a
hit based
hit.
on what we've seen.
I think it's a hit with the jury's out in it, if it makes sense, yeah? If you were doing it on a...
Aye,
Yeah.
he'd a cracking debut though. I'll give him
Aye.
that. Him to Bruges.
Okay, so we're moving on to... Obviously, we've not seen any of Cornelis. We move on to midfield, and you're starting to see DMs. Rothwell, I think we're all going to agree, yeah?
That's a miss for me. Unfortunately, I was looking forward to seeing him Ox when he came up. He was one of the signings I was looking forward to see how he controlled and dictate the midfield. Unfortunately, I've not seen it at all. It looks yards off the pace, so it'd be a miss for me.
I think he'll improve, Ox. I think there's definitely a player there, but he needs to get his fitness up. But if you're asking how his performance is so far, then now, miss.
How long does it take you to get your fitness up, mate? It's September now.
Well, Big Stevie's been trying for the last few weeks, hasn't he?
I bet you that man Rothwell couldn't do the walks that Stephen does.
Maybe us could do the work Stevie's done.
Right, okay, so we move on to Asgard. I think he's in the Big Homer, but I think the jury's out with a slight miss at the moment, if I'm honest. AK?
Jury's definitely out on him now, but there's a load of potential there that he's no shown yet.
Right.
He'll come good. He'll come good.
You're right. Rob?
Same as AK, mate. Jury's out, but I can see the potential there.
Young Cameron?
Hit for me. Been very good, the boy. Good attitude. Good work endeavour.
I second that. Hit for me. Always keen to run, keen to go on the ball, and shows a bit of appetite and belief.
All right, okay. All right, hit. I don't know if I'd go as strong as a hit, but it would be a jury's out with a hit. Yeah, I think he's done all right. Yeah, I think he's done all right. I don't know if he's a raging hit, but we want him to do well because he looks as if he's got a right good attitude. The Gassama, let's say so far he's with the goals he scored he had a few weeks where he was excellent scoring goals and that, and a real threat. I would say so far he's bordering towards a hit, but we just want a bit of consistency. Rob?
Aye, closer to hit, but not fully there. It has kind of came off the boiler the past few games, but I think that's given the atmosphere and the performances that have been on the pitch that's maybe not helped that, but closer to a hit than a jury's out.
Yes. AK?
He's been a good signing so far for what we've seen him, but play me in his right position, wide left. Boy, I think the boy will do well.
Right, mate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, right. So we moved to his mucker Ant-Man. Started like a house on fire, and wasn't kept his standards up. His first game, he was absolutely terrific. You know, and he's not really contributed so much yet. So I would say, at the moment, the Ant-Man's a jury's out. I don't know what you two are thinking. AK?
I'd agree with that. I think it's another guy that you play him in his right position and just tell him, don't overfill him with information about what he has to do when we've no got the ball. Just release him, take the chains off him and let him do what he's good at. Because his goal contributions last year for Go Ahead Eagles, he had plenty of assists and he had plenty of goals. So don't chain him. That's what I would say.
Some name that, innit?
Aye. The Go Ahead Eagles.
Rob?
Jury's out for me as well, mate. Again, first game showed the potential and the reason we brought him in. Since then, he's kind of filtered out of games. He's not been involved, as you say. Whether that's down to the system or just not getting involved, finding the space. I've said it for a couple of weeks. I don't think we've used him or Gasman to their full potential that they've got, using them effectively enough. And I think that maybe comes down to the system and the instructions again. So as AK says, let these two guys get the ball and just drive and be free. Let them talk with the ball rather than overload the information.
All right, we're two forwards, Chiamati. There's going to be a lot of talk about him. Seems a confident guy, gives you something else, makes us more physical, 6'4". Don't know if he's a physical player. I'm not going to go and look. I want to observe. I don't want to look back at his stuff. I want to look forward and hopefully we'll get an answer on man. Miovski, obviously, one performance there. He showed potential. And I would say just because he's endeavour and how hard he worked, he looks as if he could be an asset, AK.
Yeah, I'll go Miovski first. I agree with you. We kind of know what we're getting there because we've seen him before. You know, he done well for Aberdeen, scored against us, caused us problems, caused them problems. He's moved to Girona, didn't quite work out. But the money that we've got, you know, the outlay for him, Aberdeen were looking for, they would never have sold us 2.6 million, I think it was. So I think we've done quite well. He's an internationalist as well. So I'm looking for a good goal return out of him. But he's got to get service. Give him the ball and he'll score goals.
Yeah. Last one, Robert. Yeah, Miovski, yours.
Aye, similar to AK, mate. We know what we're getting, and I think Sunday he showed that he's going to give us something different up front as a lone striker. He'll come for the ball. He'll use his body well. He's not the strongest guy, but he'll use his body well. But he gives us that ability to go in behind as well. He'll run for the balls, which is different from what Desser's done. Hopefully, Miovski can stay on side a bit more often than Desser's did as well. But I think there's a definite potential there to be a talisman for the club and get us the goals we need. But as AK said, it's all about that service.
Aye, Chiamati, what's your thought in that signing? Are you excited? Yeah. I'm not saying it's a weight on your shoulders, but it could become a weight if you don't deliver the goods. He's come in with a hefty price tag so young with Scottish football. AK?
Aye. 8 million quid is a big outlay. You say he's only 21-year-old. It looks to me as a Kevin Thelwell signing rather than a Russell Martin, but I'm sure Russell Martin would have been involved in the discussions. But Thelwell, when he was the director of football at Everton, went to Sporting Lisbon and got him. You know, he'd quite a good youth career with Portugal under 21s and stuff. So he's 6'3", which will please the Bridgeman, as he spoke before. But he had a tendon injury on his foot at the beginning of the season last year, and that kind of stemmed his flow. He also had a thigh strain. So people are looking at his stats and going, what are we buying here? 22 games, 0 goals. But see if you break that down, Ox. I know you said that last night. He's only played 240 minutes. So in these 22 games, you're talking about 10, 11, 12 minutes a game. You know, so I think it's unfair for anybody to judge him in it. But Everton spent 15 million on him. We've got him for 8 million. Could possibly rise to 10. But we're looking for that boy to be a star here and hopefully sell him for 2-3 times what we bought for him. But I'm looking forward to seeing him, pal.
I think the criticism will come. It doesn't matter if you look at his goal return and you paid that money. You say, right, okay, then you dissect that and you'll still ask the same question, Rob. What's he done to justify that money? But if they're buying potential, what they've decided is potential, yeah.
No, 100%, mate. I think he joined Everton for 11.5 million. So they obviously seen some form of potential. And as AK said, they got an injury and didn't really get much game time. So that's always going to be a question of why we've spent that amount of money on somebody that's not played as much. But I'm interested to see how it fares. And as we all know, being the number 9 at Rangers is hard enough. The pressure's intense. And with a price tag like that, it's certainly going to add the pressure. So I'm sure he'll be aware of that. I just hope that he can come in and when he gets his chance, he takes it. And he can be like Milevsky and be a pivotal vocal point up front, because there's the two guys now that we've replaced Dessers and Igaman with that will look for the goal return.
Yeah. Aye. Okay, we better get our phone lines open. We digressed. Right, let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Have we been fair in the transfers? Give us your thoughts. Everybody sees players different, you know. It'll be interesting. So we'll see, mate. We've asked this last night, and I'm interested in your thoughts on it. But as the one day came at the right time for the team, forget about the manager, forget about the club, but as the one day came at the right time for the team, AK.
Yes, I would say it has. It gives us a chance to reset, get our business done, and obviously get some work on the training field with the guys that are left behind that are no going in international duty. I don't think we've got that many that's away anyway. I think Raskin, Ashgard, Suter, off the top of my head. I don't know if any are new things. Diamande, right, okay.
Aye.
But the majority of the squad are left behind, so it gives our manager, much needed training time and work them and get used to the systems that we can play. Because at the moment, because of the amount of games that's been coming thick and fast, I don't think he's really had the opportunity to really work on a lot of things. So yes, I would say it has came at the right time.
They'll definitely have a few days off, which will surprise people. But it has been an intense start of the season. Yeah. Robert?
It has been, mate. We're already in September. Was it 11 games we're in competitively already? And it's only September. So, as you said, it's been thick and fast. The recruitment's been done thick and fast right at the start. We've managed to get a few in towards the end of the window. And as AK said, it's a chance to work on things in the training ground for those that are still at the club. Get their days off, reset, and go and see how we can integrate these players, whether it's in the same system or whether we get a surprise Ox and when we come back from international duty, if there's a new system and setup. That's what I'm looking at as well, especially having the two strikers coming in. I don't think it's a harsh thing to say that Miovski's probably your best striker at the club right now. And I know we've not seen him play for us, but we've seen him what he can do at Aberdeen. But you're also not going to spend that much money on Chermiti to have him sitting on the bench. So I'm interested, Ox, to see if we do develop a new system or tactic going forward to maybe get the two playing together, which will give us a different dynamic as well. Just one player you forgot to mention, Ox, was Mikey Moore. He was also brought in, but jury's out for me. I've seen more from Finlay Curtis than Mikey Moore.
I would say, if I'm honest, mate, no offence to Mikey Moore, I think he's a miss, mate. Yeah, what we've seen, mate, I don't think he, even against Alloa, I don't think he was particularly. Alloa? Was it Alloa who made his debut? I think it might have been.
It was,
I don't,
Aye,
I
well
don't,
done.
I don't think it was particularly outstanding. Yeah, just the way I see it, Rob, I want him to
No,
do well because he's
of
playing
course.
for us. AK?
I think it's harsh to judge him in the Ox, to be honest.
Only
18
what
year
we've
old.
seen, mate. Only what
I
we've seen.
know, pal. I know. He's only 18. I quite like the look of him, and I think he'll go on to have a good career. But when he comes into your team, you've got to be rewarded with the jersey. Don't expect it. And what Rob said there earlier as well, I think young Curtis has done well as well.
Aye. Anyway, we've been joined by Kyle. Evening, Kyle.
Hi, good evening. How are you guys doing?
All right, mate. What's on your mind, mate? Yeah, first time caller, I believe.
Yeah, it's fine. I spoke to the host. It's fine. It's all good.
Good, mate. Carry on. The floor's yours.
Cool. Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about the fullbacks. I think we should have signed a permanent deal for a right back and a left back, in my opinion, because I'm worried that Tavernier might get a knock, and then we have to roll in Irons. Is not good enough, in my opinion. Magoma is a good signing, and I think he's been quite impressive so far. But the fact he's the only left back we've got is a bit concerning. I've been quite happy with the transfer window, but I just wish we got permanent moves for our left back and the right back just to give us more depth in defence.
I think that's very fair. AK?
Yeah, because Max Irons, for me, I'm really disappointed with him because I remember when I watched him in the Premier League a couple of times at Norwich, he looked really good. And he was linked with a couple of big clubs in Europe. And this was like a couple of years ago. But since we brought him in, he's been an absolute disaster. And that moment against Bruges was unforgivable.
AK?
Aye, welcome to the show, Kyle. Listen, I think a lot of us would share your concerns about our full-back positions in the team, but we can only do so much business, get so many players out the door and in the door, so we can't do all the business at once. But I'm sure they'll be looking at it for January. But is there a potential here now, I would say, to maybe go 3-5-2 in the future? Because we seem to have an overload the like centre halves and overload the midfielders, so we could actually change our shape to accommodate and possibly switch, to go 4 in the odd games at the back. So, but there is potential there. That's for sure with Magoma.
Yeah, definitely.
Also,
I've been impressed with him so far.
We've got Cornelius, Kyle, who can play at left back.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because he's left-footed. So yeah, that's a good shout. But I'm quite pleased we've got two strikers. I know Shemiti is a big gamble, but I've actually read somewhere that Luis Figo is a big fan of his, so you never know. Hopefully it works out.
Right. Well, it takes warm words if Figo thinks you're a good player. I know he spoke fondly of myself. Rob?
Don't listen to him.
Hi, good evening, Kyle. Good to hear from you, pal. Always good to hear new callers. No, you're right. When you look at the squad, if you look at the depth, obviously the left back does stand out because it is only Magoma who is that natural left full back. We've seen Aaron's there. He doesn't do it for me.
No, he's awful. I think Tavernier's been all right. I mean, I know he's not the player that he once was, but I still think he's useful. You know what I mean? I still think he could still offer something. You know what I mean? Because Aaron's, to me, is just a bum scare. I mean, that moment, like I said, that moment against Bruges was unacceptable and embarrassing. I just thought that was unforgivable.
No, it didn't make the task any easier, that's for sure, Kyle.
No.
I'm with AK. I mentioned it just before you came on. I'm interested to see if we do change system and set up, especially with the two strikers, and that's when maybe the 3-5-2 could come into play. I know Cornelius can play left back, but if you look at potentially a back three, you've got a couple of options there where you could have different personnel. You could even include Tavernier as a centre half. He's obviously played there.
That's right.
So there's options there, mate. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how we do set up going forward, given the players we've got and the lack of left back options.
Yeah, and I'd like to see Nsiala get another chance. I know he had a huge stinkers against St Mirren last season, but I think he's got something. I'd like to see him get another opportunity, but we'll see.
It'll be interesting, Kel, to see what happens there, because our information says that he's been told that there's, he finds himself in our club, and obviously transfers windows shut in a lot of places. Obviously, there's some countries, but yeah, listen, he came in and he's some good, some bad, and some indifferent.
Yeah,
definitely. If you think away Bilbao when he came on, he played well. He came on and played well in Bilbao, and then he struggled against St. Munn. So
yeah, it was really weird because he was good for us in Europe. But I remember that game against St. Mirren, and I don't think he's been the same ever since then, because he really struggled in that game. I don't know. It might just be a confidence thing. I don't know, but maybe if he gets an opportunity, that'll hopefully get his confidence back that he had against Bilbao. Hopefully, but we'll have to wait and see.
Aye, we mentioned the boy Aarons, and I've been critical of young Aarons on here, AK.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if it is a confidence thing, because if you look at it again, he's another one who's not played a lot of football last year.
That's true, yeah, because he had injury issues and he had a terrible time at Valencia, which is bizarre because when he was playing the Premier League at Norwich a couple of years ago, he was a very promising player.
Aye.
And when we signed him, I thought, okay, that's actually a good signing. But when I watched him play, I know he was played at a position against Motherwell, but I was really disappointed with him. And ever since then, he's just been a disaster. And that he was in that panic situation against Bruges was just, I was just like, oh no, I don't think this is going to work out. You know what I mean? It was just awful. So, and I know a lot of people have been critical of Tav, and I've been myself as well. And that's because I like Tav a lot. You know what I mean? I've always been a big fan of his, but I would no way in hell have Aarons over him. No way. Not for me. Not at the moment anyway, that's for sure.
No, I agree, mate. I agree. I mean, I think Tav's best years are behind him, and I agree with that, AK.
Yeah.
AK.
No, you're right. Tav's coming to the end of his kind of tenure at Rangers. He's been here nearly a decade now. He has his assets. He has his deficiencies in his game. It's natural, progression. He certainly contributed goal-wise in that, but unfortunately, for the talent that he has, he would have liked to have lifted more trophies, and I think we would all like to see them with more trophies. But getting back to your initial points, even with Aarons, Shiga, Insiala, Asgard, Young Moore, Ant-Man, Gassama, they're all young guys.
Yeah,
right?
they are.
And see when, on reflection, see if you're no doing well in front of your crowd, or tough watch. That could have a detrimental effect in the the psychology of the player going forward, because they're frightened to make a mistake, and as we know, the Rangers support can be unforgiving. So possibly,
yeah.
Right, and what do you say, Kyle? And
I'm not convinced that Russell Martin's the right man for the job. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll give him time. Well, I'll try to. I know this might sound harsh, but I just don't understand the logic of bringing in a manager who was just relegated from the Premier League. I just think that's kind of below our standards, and that's why I don't see it working. I mean, he did a good job in the Championship, but he had an absolute nightmare in the Premier League. And when we appointed him, I just felt really underwhelmed by it, and I was like, we just sacked a guy that was better than him. And don't get me wrong, Clement was not the right man either, and sacking him was totally justified. Although I would argue we should have sacked him a lot earlier. But I just don't see Russell Martin being an upgrade at all, and that's my worry. And I want him to do well, obviously, of course I do. He seems like a likable guy, but he just seems to be a bit delusional at times. And his press conferences and his interviews, I just find them a bit frustrating to listen to. But I just don't see it. I worry that he might struggle to get himself on a run with a couple of wins, because that's what he needs to do to convince us and the rest of the fan base is to get on the winning run. Because if he doesn't, the pressure on him is going to be ridiculous and brutal. And for me, the game against Hearts is a must-win, and the Hibs game too. If he loses one of them, I think he'll be seriously under pressure. But I just don't see him being the right fit. It just, I don't know. I just don't see it. I mean, I think the fact that we started the season. Oh, sorry, I'll let you go. Sorry.
No. Carry on, mate. Carry on.
I just think it's unacceptable that we started the season with drawing against St Mirren and Dundee and Motherwell. For me, that is just ridiculous. I mean, that's unacceptable, not completely below our standards. And yes, we're not good enough to be in the Champions League, but I'm sorry, being 5-0 down at halftime is just unacceptable, and it was embarrassing. And I found that was appalling. You know what I mean? And I just fear as well that he doesn't learn from his mistakes. To be fair though, that lineup against Celtic was better for sure, and I'm pleased that Raskin's staying because I was worried about him going, not replacing him. So that's a positive, but I just don't think he's good enough to be long term for us as a manager, in my opinion.
All right, okay. Listen, I don't think you're alone in a lot of these thoughts. Yeah, and he is under pressure because if you don't win football matches and you consistently in your domestic league, you're always going to be under pressure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'll go to the boys before we have a tune. I'll go to the boys first. AK.
He's put himself under pressure with his domestic results and performances so far. We've done reasonably well in Europe to get to that final game against Bruges, but I think we all kind of, if you were honest with yourself, we thought it was a game too far, and so it proved to be.
Yeah,
Bruges were very good, and we were rotten. But domestically,
terrible.
It's not been good enough, Kyle. We know that. 4 points after 4 games, we've put ourselves in the back foot. But whether we like it or not, the new owners have picked their man, and they seem to be backing him, judging by the recruitment that we've made, the ins and outs. So they're not going to rip up the blueprint, and they're not going to be as easily as led with the support as our previous regimes. So, as I say, whether we like it or not, he's our head coach, and it doesn't look as if he's going anywhere anytime soon. But we need wins. We need wins.
Yeah, I think they're going to give him a bit of time because they'll be thinking, let's give him 2 months after a month or two after national break and see where we are and see how we do in the League Cup and stuff like that. So I totally get that. I just thought we could have got someone better, but it is what it is. Well, hopefully he'll prove us wrong. I hope he does because that'll be brilliant.
That's a whole different debate, mate. But I tell you what will be interesting. I'll be interested in the tickets for the Europa League and then the Hibs take up, mate. That'll make them maybe look the people that's running the club will be long and hard. Last word for Rob. What Kyle said before we go to the tune.
Hi, Kyle, you're right. Obviously, Russell Martin, as AK said, hasn't done himself any favours with performances. It was obviously there was split opinions when he was announced as a manager, even before he was even in contention for it. And the performances haven't gave him anything to distance himself from that pressure. They've only heaped him. But what I will say is the board are clearly sticking with him. I think that's evident, as AK says. They've backed him in this transfer window.
They have. They've backed him really well.
I've spent close to £30 million, so he's been backed. He's getting the finances that other managers didn't. And time will tell of how much of these players are actually going to be assets and how much they're going to help the squad, and if it's been good investments. But ultimately, though, as we keep saying, it's a results-driven business. We need to start getting wins. Once he's got no excuses now. It's his team. He's got his players. So he needs to find out how to integrate them all, how to get them playing well, and then it becomes consistency that you get results, and we go from there. We just need to go one game at a time, unfortunately, as we always say. But we need to obviously get results quicker, sooner rather than later.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And also, we hopefully will start performing better when the squad gels in together too. But I mean, it was, and also I felt. I'll be honest with you. I thought. I know some of our players like Barron, for example, and Magoma were good, but I thought Celtic were there for the taking. I thought we should have beaten them. I really do. I thought it was a missed opportunity.
We all agree totally, mate. We don't disagree with that. We know we've not been great, and I think we're all surprised how poor they were.
Yeah, no, they're nowhere near what they were 2-3 years ago. Nowhere near, in my opinion. They don't look like the same team. You know what I mean? So I just felt, good on the mighty. We should have won that game in. Plus, I felt sorry for Miovski because I thought he had a good game, but he just wasn't getting the service.
Well, I felt sorry for him, mate, because the second half, he ended up isolated. But we have to start making chances. Right, Kyle, we're going to have a tune, mate. You're welcome to stay with us if you want, mate. So if you don't mind putting your phone on mute, we'll have a tune.
Cool.
I'd been in exile for some years and my eyes filled up with tears when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. So I took a trip along just to hear some famous songs when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. I stood there all alone while the boys all down from home sang of Rangers, that team of great renown. And a sight I'd never seen when they sang God Save the Queen, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. There's not a team like the Glasgow Rangers, one of the famous songs they sung. And a sight I'd never seen when they sang God Save the Queen, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. Now on the field below, the boys put on a show, the likes they'd never seen at Molyneux. And it's football, it was grand, from Macmillan, Scott and Brand, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. There's not a team like the Glasgow Rangers, one of the famous songs they sung. And a sight I'd never seen when they sang God Save the Queen, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. Now the league flag must come nearer with men like Bobby Shearer, the way he played at Wolverhampton town. And the world forever after would sing of Jimmy Baxter, for on his head they placed that noble crown. There's not a team like the Glasgow Rangers, one of the famous songs they sung. And a sight I'd never seen when they sang God Save the Queen, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. Now I knew it had to happen, I heard a mighty roar, the famous Glasgow Rangers they had scored. And the sky was white and blue, Wolverhampton shook right through, the loyal ramping Rangers had come through. There's not a team like the Glasgow Rangers, one of the famous songs they sung. And a sight I'd never seen when they sang God Save the Queen, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. When the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
One of my favourites.
It's a cracker, innit? Wolverhampton town, brilliant. Well done, Fox.
Well, yeah. Listen, some of the points that Kel made, I think we some of the views that we discussed about the game at the weekend there before Kel joined us, but I think that I think that surprised us, if we're honest, that how we ineffectively look. We're used to, even when they've not played well, that they look a threat going forward, which they didn't. They've not really. I don't think they've supplemented that in this Monday. So let's hope there's a chance that we can start clawing back and make this really interesting, because if we can get the pressure on them, obviously they've got to keep some of their cash. But other things they've got to deal with, but the support of the walk up to that, the stadium and all the other things, disasters they're costing people's lives. Yeah. But such is life. So we just have to look after ourselves, drive forward, and hopefully AK and Rob can chip in. Hopefully Russell Martin makes everybody eat their words. Does it look like it's now, if I'm honest? No, but if you start winning football matches, people quickly forget it.
Oh, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I think that's where we all hope is going to happen. I know we don't like the comparisons, but Postecoglou didn't start hell of a well for them, and he was, the support wanted his head in a plate and get him going. And who is he? He doesn't know our club, he doesn't know our league. But I tell you, once he got the players in that he knew could improve the team, boy, did they fly. I think they went on a 72-game undefeated domestic run, and that's the sort of level of consistency that allows you to dominate in Scottish football. Can we go on that sort of run? That's questionable. But the players that he's got to choose from...
We're five undefeated, mate.
Aye, I know.
Well, we're joined by Matt. Evening, Matt.
Good evening, all.
How we doing? What's on your mind?
Right, I've just got a random question, okay? Right, so transfer windows... Right, okay, I won't make it... I'll try and done it.
Panel on it too bright tonight, mate.
Right, okay. Right, so do you think that this is a good Rangers team that's been bought this season? The amount of money spent over the past 20 seasons, if you compare it to it.
20 seasons?
Yeah, I've actually got the statistics here. Everybody's first season in charge.
2005, that would have been.
Right.
That would have been
Right.
Puzzo, Novo, Marvin Andrews sort of team, that sort of era, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so, like, if you take every time everybody's been in charge, right, going backwards, the amount of money that gets spent this season, because we're currently in the red, because we've spent 31.61 million, and we're 3.88 in the red so far. Who was last in charge? Clement. 17 million on his first season. You think Clement's team was better than this season so far?
At the moment, if we're honest, yeah. If I'm honest.
Yeah, right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. No, it's just what I want to know, because if you look at Gerrard spent 32 million over 3 seasons, because a lot of his first set of players were all signings and then free agents.
Yeah, but we're in a different place. But when Stevie G came in, mate, what he done was pretty remarkable, really, when you look back where we were and where we ended up. But look, do I think we look like a good side at the moment? I think, if we're being honest, and I'll go to Rob first. Rob, you can answer that first, mate. Yeah.
It's hard to say. Obviously, based on what we've seen, no. I will say that there's been stronger squads over the 20 years. Matt, I think that's evident. There's been better players and stronger players that look as title winners from the get-go. I think what's obviously changed is football's evolved, finances are a lot more in play, so these money figures that we're throwing now, it's just the world we live in. Time will tell how good this side can be or will be, but I think if you look back on paper, there certainly has been stronger sides, and stronger sides that haven't been successful as well over the years. But with the money involved now, as Ox says, we're in a different place. We've got that board investment, we've got the income, we're selling players as well. If you look back at the 20 years as well, I don't think we've been
Yeah,
close to
we've
what we
never
brought
made
in.
money.
Exactly. So we're in a better place financially. I think it's fair to say that we've got assets to sell. Arguably, we should have sold players previously when value was high, especially after Seville and 55, etc. But
Yeah.
based on what we've got now, I don't think it's a strong squad. But I'm hopeful that I'll eat my words come the end of the season and over time that they can show that they are get the character and the mentality to go and be successful and merit the value that they've been brought in for. But I think if you're asking the question, is it the strongest side you've seen in 20 years? No, it's not. You've seen stronger.
Right, okay.
What would be your strongest team in 20 years then, Robert? It's hard for me. I would need to phone my granda, but
Well, after two teams.
we'll come at you, Mark. We'll come at you. Yeah. You've obviously worked in this. These boys are coming off the cuff, and this is testing their Rangers knowledge, mate. Yeah.
On the
And
spot.
if they get one thing wrong, their contract's up for renewal. That right, AK? You know the rules.
Oh, aye. What's your P's and Q's, Rob?
Do my best, mate.
What would be your strongest? I mean, you've got the obvious, the 2008 team, the 2022 team that went to European finals. None of that team won the league, and then you've got, there is a spread, mate, but it's a bold question.
It's a bold question, mate. It's tough because, as you say, you've got two teams that got to a European final, didn't win the league, but European final, they don't come around often. You've got Gerrard Invincible season. You've got the McLeish era. Hard to say, mate. That's a really tough one, mate, if I'm being honest. They're really tough.
Yeah.
I think just football's evolved that it would be hard to really compare because of how the game was played, if I'm being honest, back then and what it is now. On the spot,
Yeah.
I think 2008, I think the European run under Walter, the teams we faced, the difficulties we had, obviously, in the league and fixture pile-ups and the team we had, I think that would be up there. Again, I could probably answer another year at a different stage, but on the spot, mate, I think 2008 was up there with just where the team was and everything surrounding it and how we got there. And obviously, we came close to, again, a European success, but it's a hard question, mate.
Arguably, they both say seasons 22 and 2008. We should have won a quadruple, mate. Yeah, both seasons, Is that right? No, we never won the League Cup under Gio, no. But we should have won the league.
Scottish, aye.
Aye, but AK, it's a difficult question. We're going to come to you next, Matt, because you've got your answer. AK, come on, come off that fence, get it,
yeah. I think there's an obvious regression in Scottish football because of the finances. If that's what Matt's basing his question on. You look at the teams back when Advocate and now at McLeish were managers, then how many internationals did we have in our team? It was a who's who, and basically for international breaks, your full team was away. Now we're only getting about 3, 4, 5, 6 players if you're lucky out of that team. So that tells you where we are as a team. But Scottish football for me has never been poorer. You look at our results in Europe over the year, apart from ourselves, I think we punched above our weight, but the rest of Scottish football has been atrocious. Celtic's results, they haven't won a knockout tie in over 20 years. They've had, I think, 19 goes at trying to qualify for the Champions League in the last 25 years, and they've failed to date 12 times. Hibs knocked out. They're still going the now, but Dundee get knocked out. Kilmarnock knocked out in previous games. Hearts the same. Kilmarnock, Motherwell getting beat with teams for Ireland and Wales and all that. I think Scottish football's in a poor place now, and it's reflected with that game that we witnessed on Sunday. Celtic are a poor team, we're a poor team. I think it's a poor league, but we've just got to try and regroup. I still think we've not really recovered totally for 2012 Ox. and all this players going out, players
Listen,
coming in.
mate. Listen, mate.
You know,
Answer the question. He's turned into a politician, Rob, isn't he?
He's getting splinters from sitting in that fence.
Right,
No,
come on, the boys
no,
ask you, what's the best team? What's the best team? In your opinion, you can't
the
be
best
right.
team, the best team for where?
In the last 20 years,
The best team for, oh Christ! Well, I was going to say Advocate team, but
Rangers team. Yeah, I know you don't watch them that often, but who's the best Rangers team since 2005?
Yeah, well, you probably go to the 2008 team. Yeah, for one. That's the one that sticks out.
Aye. I mean, I like the team with Mendes Davis in it. Yeah, Walters, the team. I think that was in 2009. After, I thought that team was an excellent side when Bergera came into it. Yeah, but I'd have liked to have seen Bergera and Carlos Cuellar together. Yeah, as a centre back pair, and I think that they covered a lot of bases. But I liked that team. I liked Mendes, and I was a big fan of Stephen Davis. The football they played that season I thought was excellent. But for poor dream and where they took us, the 8 team and the 22 team was something special. And if you accept that the 22 team, Robert, was the invincible team pretty much, yeah, for Gerrard, that group of players done well for us as well.
Aye, absolutely. I mean, as I said, it's hard to look past 2 teams that got to a European stage, especially 2022. Again, some of the clubs we met in the Europa League and teams that came down from the Champions League. It's not the way it used to be when maybe you fancied a good run at the UEFA Cup, as it was known, or the Europa League when it became the name. It was the kind of lesser teams, but nowadays you look at the teams that are in that draw, and if you look at back at 2022, it's a remarkable run that we could get there and be in touch and distance of European glory. I mean, a post width away from lifting a trophy. A European trophy would have been sensational. Would have capped it off, and had we won it, I think then that would have been your answer. Just because it reached success, but hard to look past both of the teams, mate. Given again where we were, many teams around us.
Right, Matt. You've obviously asked the question. We've given you your answer.
You've all answered it for me, but I would say the 2008 and the 2022 squads. I just felt they were better built, and to get to 2 finals. I was going to fling in McLeish's treble winning season, but that's past 25 years. But for me, the first to 50 was a great squad.
The 2003 treble winning. Yeah.
So that would be my one outside of 25 years. But
I mean,
2008.
De Boer, Caniggia, Michael Moles, obviously coming back for his injury, wasn't quite the same player. Amaruso even, yeah. Arthur Newman last game, that game when Amaruso scores the goal to win as a treble, yeah. Aye. So fantastic players at different level. That's the point you're making, AK, different level.
Aye, 100%. 100%. The quality was there in the teams, and it was obvious the way they played. It was a total different level of football. I don't think the level of football is anywhere near as good as what I watched when I was a young boy, even World Cups and Euros and all that, not just domestic football. I think football's been monopolised, allowed to be monopolised across Europe with UEFA, and I don't think it's killed a lot of domestic leagues for the competition because the finances clubs have got the advantages and they dominate because of that. And it's you look at who the winners is, the league winners consistently year after year. It's pretty much the same teams all the time now because they get the scraps of the Champions League and then reinvest it into their own team to dominate.
Somebody's asked who would win if the 2008 and 2022 team played each other. I've got a simple I've got a simple answer to that, Robert.
Go for it.
It depends what team Stephen Davis is in.
Well, I'll put you on the spot then, Ox. Which team did Stephen Davis play better for? 08 or 22?
Oh, that's so hard.
08.
There's your answer then, eh?
08, but I think he was just so much energy. And the game he had in Lisbon, I think he played it right back that night. The way we set up, the game he had in Lisbon that night, we won 2-0. I think Stephen Davis was a better player than people realised. Not just but he's reading the game and the way he worked. I think he helped teams make people run about him better players. A bit of an unsung hero for me, and I think he was a better player. And we missed out because he'd have been with us forever. What happened in 2012 when they happened. But I think it was influential in both. To be in both the teams, a 14-year spread, it's remarkable, isn't it?
It sure is, mate. It sure is. Alan McGregor could have been as well, but he was injured for that one, wasn't he? Oh, wait, I think it was Neil Alexander deputised for him.
Injured himself at the piggery, didn't he? Yeah.
Aye. But Neil Alexander was a good deputant as well.
Alan as well. You could have done the two,
Aye, definitely. But no, you're right, Stephen. I was just going to say, actually, I think the Gerrard masterclass springboard to go into 155 was bringing back Stephen Davis and also adding Jermaine Defoe to the team. You think that, Ian?
Matt, is that a fair comment?
Oh, yeah. I think bringing Davis back was really, really crucial. And Defoe, no, just at Rangers. I was never a fan of Defoe. I was always like a big Alan Shearer fan down south, so I never really watched Defoe, but I thought he brought a lot to the club.
There was a period where he changed Morelos and helped get the best out of Morelos for that period, yeah. You know, and I don't think, I know it was behind closed doors because of COVID, was it? I think it was. The Livingston goal with the ball over his shoulder, yeah?
Aye.
You know, he just showed his thought and his awareness. You know, but he was a scorer on and off the pitch, Rob.
Aye. No, just when AK says there, the catalyst of the likes of Davis and Defoe coming into the squad, you talk about having experience in your squad. That's two guys that have got bundles and bags of experience. Then you add in McGregor, Arfield as well. So there was a spine in that team that had experience and the understanding of the game. That again, you could argue that was a strong side as well, Ox. Given again the restrictions that Gerrard was under during COVID, that side was strong. Obviously going invincible. So a lot of good players over the years that have been in squads. Like as you said, at times you wish you'd seen players from different years playing together because it would have been some side. But ultimately, touching on Defoe there, I get what Matt's saying that he maybe wasn't a fan of him, but I thought he brought a real maturity to the club. His professionalism is second to none. He looks after himself well, keeps himself fit, and as you said, he seemed to teach Morelos a lot, took him under his wing. I think a lot's been said publicly about how much of an influence he had, not just on Morelos, but also the likes of Aribo and Bassi, Kamara. They players, they shown to him. He took them under their wing, and there was a lot of experience taken from it. So a true professional, and just unfortunately, we didn't get him longer than we did.
Aye, mate, aye. Great question, Matt. Great question.
Aye, no problem. I can come up with one now and again.
Aye, mate, aye. I know we tried to get you in last night, but there was problems with your phone. Thanks.
I ended up flinging my phone off the wall. And that was because Rangers drew.
Any chance you can do that with AK so we stop getting these messages?
Can I see something?
For that. Carry on, Matt.
Aye, can I see something else? So see this new striker we've got. I'm terrible with names. The guy for Everton.
Chamatri.
Aye,
Chermiti. Is that how you're saying it, AK?
Chermiti. Break it down. You've got chair. You've got chair, and then you've got meaty.
So how you pronouncing Gassama then?
Gassama.
Do you think he's worth $8 million for a player who hasn't scored any goals in 22 games for Everton? Or do you think it's a work in progress type signing?
I think they must think they're getting a lot of potential, mate. I've not seen him. I've not even looked at the clips. I'm not gonna go and look at the clips this time. I want to see him and see what he does. I think they're just buying pure potential, and they're gambling. It's a big gamble, and obviously you're gambling with other people's money. He hasn't played 22 matches. He's been involved in
22 appearances. Sorry, 22 appearances. That's what I meant to say. Sorry.
It's a different thing. What was the minutes, AK? I think you looked at the minutes, didn't you?
I think it's roughly about 240 minutes in the appearances, so that's not even 3 full games, It's
not a lot. I'm hoping he's good. I've not looked him up. I don't know anything about him.
Aye, we know he's 6'3", 6'4", and obviously I don't know if he's a physical player or the jury's out. We have made him. It's a major punt, mate, and it will be a point of discussion. People will be looking somebody if he gets a chance, and it doesn't go back to the net, Rob. People will say, "What have we done?" Yeah,
exactly, mate. That pressure, as I said earlier on the show, that comes as being the striker at Rangers. It's the jersey's heavy for a lot of players, and especially the strikers, because they're the ones that you look at for scoring goals. And when you do come in with a price tag of that amount, the pressure obviously gets added. I mean, if you come in at 3 or 4 million, yeah, okay, you've still got the pressure of being the striker, but it's not as much as what it would be for that amount of value that you're putting out on. But as you said, I think it's all potential. Everton signed him for 11.5 million back in 2023, and he came from Sporting, and he'd only scored 3 goals and 22 appearances for Sporting. So they've seen some potential. And again, I'm like yourself, Fox. You can look at stats, you can look at videos. I'll make my mind up when I see the player in front of me with my own eyes. And it might just be that our club, our environment, our system might suit him, and it might actually show his worth. But regardless of what your value is, you've still got to go and do the job as a striker at Rangers. So he'll feel the pressure, that's for sure. But as long as he scores goals, then and wins his big games, might be the difference maker. We'll forget about that price tag.
Yeah. Only time will tell. Talking about price tags, we'll be joined by Billy. Evening, Billy.
Good evening, Ox. Good evening, troops.
Evening, Billy.
What are we doing, mate?
Hi, Billy.
Hi, troops. I've got a wee question for you.
I thought you were going to say something else there.
Oh, I'll tell you what it is, right? Listen, this is no sour grapes, by the way, right? Because it's happened a few times, and not just for Rangers. It's happening quite regular to other teams as well, right? And I think it's an absolute terrible rule, and it contradicts itself. And I know, I mind the boy Willie, the referee, and that he used to come on, made a lot of good points. I'd love to hear Willie's opinion on this one as well, troops, right? So just bear with me and you can give me your thoughts on it.
Just before you remember, I've got my work a week on Tuesday.
Aye, I know. Oh, that's an old Chester, that one. Come on, mate.
Well,
you're funnier than that, all you.
Come on, hurry up.
Right. See, regarding the Rangers goal on Sunday, right?
Aye.
Now, the rule, as I'm led to believe, right, is you can't touch the ball with any part of your arm, right? It's deemed a foul or a penalty kick, right? Unless your arm's by your side and in a natural position. So when they draw 8 lines up in VAR, for talking sake, you can see that Souttar's arm is offside, right? But my point is, if you can't touch the ball with your arm because it's a foul or a penalty, how can he possibly be offside if his arm, when your momentum is gone in a natural position? It makes zero sense to me, that rule. Zero sense, Troops. I've thought about this for a wee while on that rule, and for the life of me, I can't get my head around it. Because one thing, as I said, one argument contradicts the next one. You know, if your arm's outstretched going into the box, you can't score by that part of your anatomy anyway, whether it's a foul or a free kick. So how can he possibly be offside if the part of his body is in a position that is deemed a foul in the game?
Right. Can you repeat that?
Right, I'll go again.
I thought he was offside. I'll keep it short and sweet. I thought he was offside to the naked eye and the still. I'm trying to find the still, Billy. We'll go to the still somewhere to see if his head was also offside. I think we'll go to the still. My initial thought was when I watched it, I said right away, that's going to be chopped off, and it was confirmed. I think it was, if he'd just stood and moved back 6 inches, he's maybe onside, and then it becomes easier. I thought he was standing in an offside position, and it's a pet hate of mine. AK.
Simple answer is, Billy, I think they actually said it in the commentary and analysed it. You can score with your shoulder. Above the t-shirt line is now acceptable.
Aye, but it's his arm. It's outstretched, Alec. That's what I'm saying. It's not his shoulder, it's his arm. His arm, if you look at it, right, the momentum when he's running into the box, mate, right, the law of averages, or the law of gravity. When you jump, your arms go one way, right? When you come back down, they go one way, right? So when he's making a run forward, right, his arm is going in a natural position. Now, if his arm is in the farthermost point, then surely he can't be offside. Because you can't, as I said, you can't score with your arm. It's a foul. So that's what I'm saying, right? It doesn't make any sense, that rule.
Well, it's still I've got his head's offside as well, mate.
Well, when according to the stills I've seen, mate.
Billy, you'll be able to see it, mate. You know, listen, Allbear's always got a good point that he thinks that if any part of your body is onside, you should be deemed onside, and it would need a rule change because the game's about scoring goals. Mm-hmm. What was your take on Sunday? I'll go to Rob and then Matt.
I saw you, I was just looking at the still as well, mate. Evening, Billy. For me, mate, the angle I've seen in the picture, I've seen his shoulder and his head is offside, and the lines drawn, like the first part of the body that you can score from, which is his shoulder. So I've got no issues. It's an offside. And it says it's a yard or two back, it's a goal, and we get a 1-0 win, mate. It's just one of these things in the game now that, as we've said in the show earlier, you're not going to get away with it. And I said the word naivety earlier on because he's looking across the line. You've got to know that if you're eager, you need to take a step back because you're going to win the ball. Have belief and win it. So I've got no issues that it's an offside, mate. And I understand not all the rules are clear and obvious. And VAR obviously gets involved because it's a clear and obvious error. But I don't know how many offsides these days are actually clear and obvious because that is still tight. But what the law is, mate, it's offside.
Any thoughts on it, Matt?
I'll just say short and sweet and second you. I think it was offside.
Aye. By the way, when I look at it still, Billy's leg might have been offside.
Ox, it's a crazy rule, mate. It's a crazy rule. You know, see when the ball went in, when I seen it, but I went like, I seen his arm flying up there, right? Obviously, everybody's all going tonto, right? And then I'm like, no, that's not a goal. You know, that's got to get chopped off. I knew it was getting chopped off the minute it was going to VAR. But what I'm saying is, it's you know, I mean, they're saying 1 minute you can score with the top of your arm or your shoulder, but you can't score with your forearm, or you can't score with your wrist or your hand. Well, the last time I looked at the human body, your fingers, your hand, your wrist, etc., was all part of your arm. You know, it's a ludicrous rule as far as I'm concerned, and they need to really look into that, because, as I said when I first came on there, it's not about sour grapes here. It's about getting this right, because their team's getting punished for this time and time again, right out through British football and Europe as well. You know, I remember there was one in Europe with Conor Golson. That was just another issue. When he says it was, he tried to play it with his horn. I can't remember who it was. It was a European game. You maybe remember the game. We got a penalty kick awarded against us. But to me, it's a bonkers rule. It's either you're offside or you're no offside with your full arm. You know, it can't be this bit, that bit.
Even if his job has error, Matthew was offside.
I completely understand that, Ox. I completely understand that. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pick a fault here in the part of his body that they're meant to say it's either he's on or he's off. And I can understand it to say, oh, well, you can score with your shoulder. Well, your shoulder's part of your arm. So you either can score with your full arm or you can't score with your full arm.
You could always shoulder a box, don't you?
I get that as well. It's that part of the rule that I'm questioning, Ox. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's right and I'm not saying it's right. I'm just wanting to question that rule, because it for the life of me, it just doesn't. It doesn't seem a 100% cast iron rule as far as I'm concerned. There are probably people disagreeing. That's fair enough, but it's a bonkers rule as far as I'm concerned. You know, you either could score with your top of your arm or you can't score with your top of your arm. And that, you know, it's either a foul or it's not a foul.
Aye. Yes, mate.
Can I ask the guys in the panel now? Are you in favour of VAR? Do you think it's ruined the game, or do you think it's improved the game?
It's definitely changed the game, mate. I don't know. That's a big bold debate. Matt?
I would get rid of it tomorrow. And I know plenty of managers in football want rid of
it. Rob?
I'll be honest, mate. I'm actually in favour of it if it's used correctly and not used to re-referee the game. I think there's a lot of times where it is re-refereed, it's re-evaluated, and I get the reason that a referee's called to the monitor to have another look, but just because one guy in the studio thinks that a still image of a tackle is a red card isn't or shouldn't be what the referee decides. I think there needs to be a bit more toughness from referees making the decision on the field. Every still image of a tackle always looks worse than what it is. I think there's times where it's went against us and there's times it's went for us, but it's here to stay. We've got it now. I don't see it ever going away, but I'm in favour of it as long as it's used correctly and consistently as well. So there's a lot of improvements needed for it, but if it's used correctly, it can be used right.
Billy boy?
Well, Ox, I'm actually in favour of it as well, because you look at the standard of refereeing and linesmen, etc., and the people in these VAR rooms. I mean, I don't think it's the techie boys. The techie boys that's wrong. I think it's human error that's getting these things wrong. You know, and when you look at the standards of referees, as I said here in Scotland, then you look at the standards of referee elsewhere, when they've got these situations arise, etc., etc. Yours must be the worst in out of a lot of them, you know.
Did
And then
anybody see the Aberdeen incident last week with the penalty against them? I never seen it, but I read about it.
see another thing. Sorry to jump in and talk over you there. Look, see another thing. I'm looking at as well, right? If we take VAR out of the game, right? What we got to do next? Then you know, are we going to, when the human error makes howlers of decisions like we've seen in the past? You know what's that got to do? Is it just going to? I think we would go back the way if we took it away, because you're still going to hear the problems there. You know, so for that reason, I would keep it. I know there's a lot of good referees out there, and the super top referees like Big Kalina, etc., the best in the world. You know, I wonder what his opinion would be. You know, you hardly seen him in a game. You know,
he wants rid of it.
Is that right? Aye. Well,
he's part of him, and he's a part of the UEFA panel. Arsene Wenger's a part of it. Arsene Wenger wants the offside rule changed back to the way it used to be, where your full body has to be offside.
Mm-hmm.
Not like your fingertip or your big toe.
When was it ever that, mate?
Well, as far as I'm led to believe, at one point your full body.
It was never.
Well, that's what I read last. Was that last summer? Yeah. I might be wrong. I might have picked it up wrong.
No,
but see, the thing I don't get about.
Never been that, mate.
Right, we'll see. Like VAR, this is the thing I don't understand, right, about VAR. Maybe one of you can answer it. Rangers are through, right? They've passed the ball to somebody. They go and score. Why does it take the linesman 30 seconds to put the flag up after the Rangers have scored? Why do they not put the flag up straight away when it's offside then?
That's an bonkers rule.
When we score a goal, by the way, there's been a few players hurt with that, mate. Letting players.
But no, it's not just in Scotland. It's everywhere.
I know.
But that's what I mean. I just don't understand. Is there like a sensor or something that says they're offside?
No, there's no. They put the flag up when it's the guy who's active who gets involved and run the play to see if it is, and it's mental. As soon as you're offside, the flag should go up and the whistle should go. But that's what VAR's done. It has changed again. I don't think it's gone anywhere. I find it frustrating sometimes. I think it was brought in for howlers to make the game better, and then I take the point. Well, then you're talking about millimetres. Yeah, the linesmen could never judge because the people are moving and there's bodies in front of them. So we'll now get that, but I don't think it's gone away, and I think it might even change. Linesmen and different things. You might have robots at the side of the park. Get better eyes than the individuals, but mental is going to change again. Yes, Matt, and you come, mate.
Here's the question, right? Then I would ask. You'll probably all say no, but do you not think then the full body should be offside? Then instead of like your other callers said about the hand or the shoulder, like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes a head can be offside by millimetres. But you in the big toe. But I'm just wondering if maybe I've picked up the Arsene Wenger thing wrong, and maybe it means that your full body has to be offside, like ahead of the last defender.
You'd be well offside for that, wouldn't you?
So maybe that should be the rule.
But the thing is that it would favour attacking players, because then you'd be dangle your leg and you'd be taking the defender back, you'd be going back, because you'd be doing that have to have a fraction. You could actually be, I don't know, a pace in front of him, Billy, with your leg dangling, just to be offside to get that mark. That would change the game in favour of the attacking player, yeah?
Well, it could. That's a good point there as well. Either that or you're offside with whatever legal part of your body is planted on the ground. You know, so that would mean if you're going through, for talk's sake, 1-on-1 or
legal part of your body. Who's playing centre forward for you? Linford Christie.
Aye. Well, if you've got your foot planted in the ground and your knees up, your other one's off the ground, you know. Obviously, say for talk's sake, your right foot's planted in the ground, but your body's maybe Obviously, the perfect situation there at the weekend there. But could they know maybe what rule it round about you, whatever part of your body's planted?
What about Allbear's solution? Any part of your body's own side, your own side. So that goal would have counted, yeah? AK.
Aye, it's something worth discussing. Personally, I think VR has ruined football, and it's ruined it for a few things. I think it's more suitable for the armchair supporters now. You're in that stadium, you have not got a clue why games are getting stopped and what they're looking at, and then you're on your phone and you're hoping that your pal passes you a still, a photo or a video. What's happening there? Is that a red card? Is that a penalty? So anybody that's going to the game, you're getting delayed. Games are now becoming 100 minutes instead of the 90 minutes. And it's taking the emotion out of the game for me as well. You can't celebrate a goal for the crowd, for the players, for the managers. I just think it's killing the game. If it was an entertainment game, you want to see goals. And I think VR is killing it. I don't know if you caught that one. I know you said about the Aberdeen one last week, Ox. That was a ridiculous decision.
I've not seen
to
it. To
give a handball and send the guy off for that. But there was one there at the weekend at Chelsea where Fulham, the guy done a brilliant bit of skill, put it in the middle of the park, set up a goal, and it gets chopped off. Ridiculous.
Aye. The guy in the VAR room get the boot. I read with that Fulham Chelsea one, mate, because that changed the game, because that delay meant the added time and Chelsea got their second goal. So it influenced and changed the game.
Yep. And then they gave a Chelsea penalty.
That was a howler of a decision, that one for the Chelsea boy. The boy just done a wee pirouette with a brilliant bit of skill. That's the perfect example. You know what I mean? You've got boys sticking earrings out, you've got their shoulders coming out, you've got the boy doing a fantastic bit of skill, and he's just accidentally caught the boy in the foot. Where do you want him to put his foot? You know what I mean? Do they want players to levitate now? You know what I mean? I don't know, Ox, but there's definitely they need to really look into these rules and brush up on them big time. But see, you're talking about VAR. What do you think the positives of VAR are then? Is that what's the good things that's come out for VAR instead of the negative things?
Listen,
mate, diving.
Does it? But what it does, mate, when it goes for you, it's positive, and when it goes against you, it's negative. Obviously, I get the frustrations of Sunday, Billy, when you get the ball in the net, and the amount of goals we've had choked off against them, and some of the decisions that's been made in the last few years is frightening. But just to back that up, AK's got a stat that somebody put out the day about fouls per booking. Quite interesting, AK, innit?
It was actually Rob that put it up there.
Sorry, Rob, I apologise, mate.
Sorry,
I think it was Southside. I think Southside put it up last year. But if you've got it handy there, Rob.
He's wrote that, mate. There's no way Southside.
On you go, Rob.
Oh, you go, mate. Floor's all yours. I'll let you do the honours.
Oh, Christ. I'll need to go looking for it now. Then give me a wee sec.
Right, okay. Interesting, Billy. Don't know if you've seen it, mate.
No, I didn't, mate. I didn't.
Right, remember where we are in the season. And how things change games. Yes. And how people are going on. And I've always been a backer of referees, mate, because without referees, you can't have a game of football at any level, mate, as you well know. And
I've got it here.
You need them, but listen to this, Billy.
Right. Listen to this one, guys. So far this season, right, fouls per yellow card. Rangers bottom of the table, 3.6 fouls per yellow card. Then we got Dundee United 4.1, Kilmarnock 4.1, Livingston, Dundee also 4.4, St Mirren 4.6, Falkirk the same, Hearts 5, Aberdeen 5.4, Hibs 8.3 fouls. Motherwell 8.7 fouls per yellow card. Celtic 10. 10 fouls before they get a yellow card.
4 games in.
There you go. Interesting, eh? Interesting.
Who was the Celtic fullback at the weekend? The one with the
Anthony
beard.
Ralston.
Ralston.
I'm sure that stat maybe would come in with the amount of fouls he had. And I didn't think he got booked, did he?
He didn't. He didn't have a poor book.
There you go. And I'm sure he had 4 or 5 fouls in the game.
I don't know if he had that many, but there was one he could have got booked for. Yeah.
Well, it's maybe that. But I'm sure he had 4 fouls in the game. Yeah, I booked the young laddie.
Moore.
Mikey Moore for his first foul. You know, how does that work? So you let a guy go with 4 fouls, and that's all right. But there a guy has 1 foul, and you book him right away. Was it just me, lads, or am I missing something here?
Listen, you can have that in an incident depending on what happens. You know, there's a yellow card, I believe. You know, it could be the first minute, the 60th minute, or the 90th minute. If you're refereeing the game right, it's a yellow card that is called, but we had a couple of players that maybe due getting booked because of what happened. I mean, when you see it, Diamandi pulls somebody back, so it's a yellow card, you go on with the game.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're also saying is that they're influencing it, but there's people no getting booked and get away with the second challenge, AK, in it. Yeah, that's the problem, yeah.
Aye. Celtic are quite cute about it. They pass their fouls round about their team. You see, like say Hatate and Maeda, they're always cute about their fouls, but they know what they're doing. They're stopping the play, the storm in front of the ball, the delays. That Arnie Engels is the same. But you've got Scales, Carter Vickers, you know, they're all at it. They know what they're doing, but listen, it's a big advantage when the officials are letting them away with it, and they're punishing us. We get 3 yellow cards, and they get 0. Mikey Moore, Diamandi, and Gassama. That was our 3 yellows.
No, Diamandi got booked, didn't he? Mikey Moore, Diamandi.
Giga.
The Giga, wasn't it?
Oh, I thought it was you. You're giving me bum info, Rob.
Leaving you doing a straight path, mate.
He's setting you up for a fall, AK, yeah?
He just did, and they pushed me too.
Ox, just on Billy's comment, I just checked it there. Ralston committed 2 fouls and get no yellow card, but just to be devil's advocate, Gassama done 3, no yellow card. It's a type of foul. I think it's a type of foul you do. Do you know what I mean? There's tactical fouls, there's professional fouls.
If Billy was saying if we did get 4 or 5, you're due a booking for persistent fouling, yeah?
That's what I mean, Knox.
You're booked for that, you know. You know, you used to see the old point on the part, you've done it there, you've done it there, you've done it there, you're getting a yellow card. All we are looking for is fairness, mate. All we are looking for is fairness. If somebody's due a booking in our team, we say he's due a booking, yeah, obviously they see the game different, but it's a frightening start. And if you add that to last year's, mate, it's becoming unbelievably frightening. And I thought when we had the friendly, who was that against? Middlesbrough, wasn't it? Middlesbrough. When Russell Martin said about the penalty we never got. Remember when the guy handled it?
That's right. Aye, that was John Beaton, wasn't it?
Aye, I thought that should have told him. That should have told him what he's up against. Anyway, we're getting near that time of the evening. But interesting topics, Billy. But
just a quickie, I know. Just a quickie there, Ox. Fox
took me for lunch.
Fox has made a cracking point, I know. Was back to the goal that was chopped off for offside because his shoulder or his arm or whatever the case may be See that the ball, before Tavernier crossed it into the box, did they hear the ball still, or was the ball moving at the time?
It looks on the still as it just as he's kicking it, mate. Yeah.
You know, so surely they've got to put lines down there as well then. If they're going to put lines on the angle of the players being offside, sure they've got to draw lines and try and match them up with where the ball has actually left his foot.
There's only somebody on lines. He was offside, Billy.
Oh, no, listen, I'm not saying he's no Ox. Listen, didn't think I'm on here to just moan and bitch about it. I'm on here to put a constructive point across. You know what I mean? So, back to somebody said earlier on, well, what's the negatives of VAR? Well, that is one of the negatives of VAR, because if they're drawing lines along at the edge of the area where the player is deemed offside, they should also be drawing lines as well where the player has kicked the ball. You know, surely they should be doing that as well.
Maybe we'll end up with a sensor in the ball, mate, that will send a signal.
You know, that's just another.
You must have run the line in your time, Billy. Yeah, there's an argument that running the line is harder because of the split second called and refereeing in it.
Well, that's what the technology's meant to be there for, Ox, isn't it?
Aye. But it is, isn't it? If you're running the line, you're trying to do it properly.
Of course it is. You're not. You're. Well, listen. The human eye's not got to be as quick as technology is.
Can't it be in two places and one's nearer, can it?
That's right. Unless you're Fergus McCann, you know what I mean.
Anyway, listen, mate. Good points, Matt. Thanks for coming on, mate. Great question you asked.
No problem. Thank you.
That was that took us down memory lane, which we always like, AK, didn't we?
Aye. Very good question, Matt. Thanks for making your debut, I believe.
No, this is my third time.
What was it?
Oh, well.
Oh, well, you should have
known. My second time I couldn't. I got through and then hung up.
Oh, did you? Good to hear from you, Matt. Good question.
Right, no problem. Thank you for tonight.
Billy boy, always a pleasure, mate.
No problem, pal. Cheers for taking me. Cheers for taking me. Cheers for taking my call, mate.
Yeah. Keep it clean, Billy. Right, last word for the one and only Rob.
Good show, mate. Enjoyed that. Dissecting the transfer window, and as you say, we've tripped down memory lane with Matt's question. Good to be on with yourself and AK as always. Thanks for having me, mate.
AK.
I enjoyed that. Good discussions there tonight. With Stato, Rob there. The transfer guru, and thanks to the callers, Kernan, yourself for hosting, and the techie boys. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Cheers.
Yeah, just for my curiosity, when are you two going to get a real job?
Whenever you can give us a reference. Whenever you can give us a good reference.
The privileges of council.
Listen, thanks to Billy, Matt, and of course Kyle, who joined us earlier on. It was good to hear from Kyle. Of course, the one and only AK and Rob for taking part in the show. Thanks to Fox and All School Blue for doing the technicals. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be taking a break to next Thursday because we don't think there'll be much info coming out of the club. We don't think they're back in training for a few days. But if anything breaks, if anything Rangers related breaks, we'll be back and we'll have shows, yeah. So we'll be back on next Thursday, 8 o'clock, talking about all things Rangers when we build up to a massive game. Hope my hearts and things will build up and hopefully things can start turning for us. Thanks to everybody for listening. Enjoy the international break. Take it away, All School Blue.